Sir Ian Duncan-Smith, Conservative MP, former leader of the Conservative Party, joins us right now. Good morning to you, Sir Ian.
Hello, Julia.
Good morning. Thanks so much for joining us. Let's talk about growth. Let's talk about Rachel Reeves. Apparently, according to Michael O'Leary, knows quite a lot about growth, having grown one of the biggest airlines in Europe, in Ryanair, in recent years. We love to hate him, but we all get his flights. But he says she hasn't got a clue about growth, and this plan for a third runway at Heathrow is being talked about since before I was born. And he says it's not going to happen for 40 or 50 years. It isn't going to deliver growth. Is she right or is he right?
Well, he's certainly partly right over this, which is the time it'll take to construct this the runway. It should have been built years ago. There was a big mistake going right back to Blair, then Cameron, and so it went on. Everybody putting it off, not making a decision. I've always believed that you should have had a second runway at Gatwick anyway, years and years ago, because it's ludicrous now the amount of traffic they have. I think extra runways in that area will actually increase growth in due course.
But you need them actually to be built.
It's got to be there, and aircraft got to be landing. So he's right in that regard. About not having a clue, I agree with him there, because I think the biggest problem she's got is now we face this nightmare where she didn't seem to understand that if she taxes more, borrows more, and spends more on public servants, in other words, these huge wage settlements that they've had, which is, by the way, going to push the cost of the NHS up, and then adding the cost of that through national insurance charges, she has gone in the exact opposite direction, because what she's going to do is depress the economy, which is what's happening. So she doesn't seem to figure out that it was her budget that accelerated the lack of interest in the UK from foreign investors. And then attacking all those who have money, the non-doms, has been the biggest mistake we've ever made.
Well, quite apart from ordinary wealth creators, whether they run a local corner shop or whether they have hundreds of thousands of employees in this country, basically saying we can't afford to take anyone on because of the cost of the national insurance hike and the lowering the threshold and the minimum wage. We simply can't expand. We don't have the spare money. We're having to pay extra money in taxes that we can't spend, expanding our business. This is happening across the board. Is the answer, someone like Donald Trump coming along? Is the answer the Conservative Party, or is it someone like Donald Trump who can say, like, right, we're going to change everything. We're going to just throw everything up in the air and just turn it all on its head, and we're going to start again, which seems to be what he's trying to do in America.
Well, yes, and I wouldn't follow necessarily his way of doing things. What I do know is there's a very simple answer to lack of growth in the economy, and that is get the burdens down off businesses and off people, give them the incentive to work longer, and give businesses the incentive to hire more people. And by doing that, you have to reduce the burden of taxation on both. It's a very simple equation. The second thing that you have to do is you have to make sure you start investing in all the startup areas. So we should be releasing all that pensions money to be investing in startups. Companies that start in the UK, and we're brilliant at getting startup companies, after about 2.5 to 3 years, when they want to raise money to move to the next level, they go to America, because America is where all the money is. And for years I've been arguing. I wrote a report called the Tigger Report, which we talked about this. It said release all that money tied up under too much regulation, allow it to invest in British startups, and you'd see a huge increase in growth. All of this can be done very simply. You don't have to be Donald Trump. You just have to be sensible and a Conservative to understand that growth comes from business. And if you stifle business, you don't get growth.
Well, one of the things we have seen over recent years, we haven't seen growth, but we have seen, in terms of wealth, we have seen massive growth there in the number of people on the public payroll, not just public sector workers, often achieving very little, very low productivity, but also the number of people who are receiving benefits. Now, Gordon Brown, I think when he was Chancellor under Labour, basically made it a deliberate policy to put everyone on the payroll with working tax credits and the like. It's absolutely massively accelerated under the Conservative government, though. You, of course, were former Work and Pensions Secretary, and you did actually get, statistics are clear, you got more families, workless families, back to work. But there are now huge number of people now claiming sickness benefits. The crackdown, we're told, that is going to apparently be coming, isn't going to happen until not coming until 24 later this year. But basically, we are looking. There are hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people who have never been asked to, never even had a meeting face to face, who are claiming thousands upon thousands of pounds in sickness benefits, have no requirement to look for work, no checks are made once they signed on to these benefits, and they are claiming a hell of a lot of money from taxpayers who are going out to work every day. What can be done about that?
Well, when I was there, I'll be honest with you, we had the lowest number of workless households since records began. And that's because we said work is what people should be doing, unless there's a very, very serious reason why not. Even people who have some illness or sickness should be working. Working is a health treatment. If you have mental health, conditions like anxiety or depression, work is the best medicine you can take because it gets you out of your sort of black tunnel of despair and gets you meeting people. So not just for the paycheck, but for self-respect. And when I was there, we were able, as a result of that, to take some 32 billion a year out of the welfare budget. Now that was a lot of money, but it was also getting more people back to work. COVID hit, and this is where politicians and civil servants,
Yeah.
I think, lost their heads. They literally kind of had everybody stayed at home, paid to do nothing. Places like Sweden didn't do this, and this stupid inquiry we've got going at the moment will never get to the bottom of what we did wrong because it's so interested only in little tittle tattle and nonsense like that. The truth is, we made a mistake. The mistake was to just let people sit at home. Sitting at home does two things. First of all, get in the habit of it.
Yeah.
Secondly, it's bad for your mental health. You need to be meeting people, seeing people. So there is a way around it. I'm very happy to help the government try and get this right because what we have to do is not a crackdown, it's making sure that those on sickness benefit who try and defraud the system by working, we should want them to work, but we want them to declare it and we should strip it off them bit by bit through universal credit. It's all very
But there's
straightforward to do.
also, I'm sorry, and I think everybody will know somebody who's doing this. There are also people, we've got 2.5 million people, 2.4 million people receiving sick benefits without the need to seek any work at all. We are, the number of people, the percentage of our population, particularly younger people, under 40s, claiming these sort of benefits, compared with any other comparable European nation, is off the scale. These people are clearly swinging the lead unless we had some uniquely different health problems in this country. I mean, a lot of what we know is it's stress, it's mental health, it's stuff. And I'm sorry, it's just not going to fly anymore. Everyone I know knows someone who is claiming some sort
Yeah.
of benefits like this, who is swinging the lead. Now, as far as I'm concerned, they're stealing from other taxpayers. Anyone getting up for work, at 6 in the morning, they're having money stolen from their pocket, stolen from their children's future by people who are not working. And everyone needs to stop being so namby-pamby about it. Literally, bring everyone into a town hall. Right, what you're claiming. Right, why do you need to claim this? Why can't you work? And I'd like the public to be able to go, yeah, we're not convinced, actually. I really think we're getting to that level of territory. We cannot afford to have millions of people swinging the lead,
It
being
is,
paid for.
but Julia, it is possible to resolve this. I've been banging on about it for some time. Sickness benefit was never in universal credit. I argued for it to be in universal credit because in universal credit, you are seen regularly by
Yeah.
work coaches. And now it's coming in at last, but it's taken years to
Yeah.
get it in. And George Osborne and others should have done it. Now it's coming in. Now they get seen regularly. Now they get asked, let's find you a job. Let's get you back into work. There's lots you can do once you've got them in. This will cut it dramatically and it will change the pattern. But
Well,
you're right.
we'll wait and see,
People
won't we?
claiming sickness benefit should be working.
Can I also ask you just finally about a story which reveals that we're paying as taxpayers £3,000 a day? OK, a drop in the ocean compared to all the other massive expenses of paying for all the other things we pay for. But for Channel migrants, to buy them new clothes and shoes when they arrive here, £3,000 a day. We're told that £3 million cost over the last recent years is good value for money.
I, by the way, misread your message to me to say you were going to discuss this. When you wrote Channel, I thought, oh, Chanel. And I thought what we were giving them was Chanel clothes.
That was a message
No,
from
the
my
whole thing is
producers, just testing the topics we might cover, yeah.
the whole thing is ridiculous. That's why this business of getting them off, those who come illegally need to be got off straight away to a third place, and there you sort their inquiry. And it's such that it will absolutely say to people, it's not worth coming here, because by the time you spent your hard-earned money, you're going to be in a country further away from the UK than here. And we should have said to the convention, we're not going to obey any rule that says to us that we cannot deal with illegal migrants ourselves. And we should do that now. And by the way, the government is going to end up in a whole lot of pain because their present game is not going to work. What they should have done is got behind that idea of Rwanda and get it done, but on a big scale. Look at what
Yeah.
Trump's doing right now.
Yeah.
Trump is putting them on the aircraft and shipping them out.
Yeah,
And that's exactly what
absolutely.
we've got to do.
Rwanda was never going to work on the scale it was on at that time, but yeah, in principle, absolutely support it. Sir Douglas Smith, there are about 20 other things I want to talk to you about, but time is against us. Former leader of the Conservative Party, Sir Douglas Smith, thank you.